Why haven't you taken the video you did yesterday and cut it into pieces and distributed it out so that you get more views on it? Your video should get 100,000 views from the video you made yesterday. And did I do that? No. I don't give a shit about this. I care about the actual change.
We are finally going live on my channel.
Oh, you're finally going live? This is Lauren's first video, guys. She's just figuring out how it all works.
Woo! I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So keep going, Lauren. Just listen. You just keep going down the line. I'll give you the beginning of this. I'll cut it into that for you, and then you'll have your first video.
Well, just to give a synopsis, you have a two-tiered idea in which you have the Montesquieu's, which monitor the transparency police.
Transparency peace officers. Stop saying police. Stop saying cop. Stop saying law enforcement. That is not what Americans want. We don't want the plain view doctrine. If you and I get in a big fight, Lauren, and I don't do cocaine. I don't think she does either. But if Lauren and I get in a big fight and we're screaming at each other and we're causing a domestic disturbance in the neighborhood and the pigs come over here and there's a plate of cocaine on the table. Well, that's in plain view. Now we can charge them with that. And Americans don't like it. They don't want it. It's not a dead body. It's a way to charge you with more crimes. And it's pathetic. Our country's in a pathetic state because we've created law enforcement, which is the opposite of what they signed, which is a peace officers agreement. That's the problem, Lauren. That's the problem we're facing today.
Okay. I see that you want to make transparency peace officers and replace
them.
What we have. So you want to replace police officers, what we have today.
We don't change
transparency peace officers, and you want a separate agency called the Montesquieu Agency to oversee the transparency peace officers.
Even more direct than that. So we have this idea, and you saw it the other day when that guy was murdered, right? When Jayland Walker was murdered, instead of chasing him, if we have a decentralized peace officers corps, then we don't need to chase him. If there are trailers and double deckers spread out all over a city based on population need, and Jayland Walker decides to drive off, let him go. Drones go up. And then when Jayland goes and pulls in somewhere and he sees the drone, next thing you're going to see is a transparency peace officer walk out.
Let's call this person Bob. Let's assume Bob has a gun.
Has a gun, then you can shoot the drone.
Okay. Assuming Bob is driving away, okay? And you're like, okay, we don't want to chase him. We don't want to cause.
Just use Jayland. You make it real. Let's say Jayland had the gun. He shot the gun out of the car. Let's say all the things the pigs are lying about is true. Okay. It's not, but let's just say it is.
So then he drives into a crowded area.
What a load of poo. You're starting to sound like a cop. You're sounding like a cop. That's not the way it is. If I want to kill a bunch of people, I don't shoot out my gun and act like an erratic idiot. I do what that moron did the other day at the parade. He put a gun up on top of a building and started shooting people as they were sitting there peacefully enjoying the 4th of July. Psychopaths are psychopaths. Jayland Walker wasn't a psychopath.
Let's assume. Okay. Oh, so Jayland, you're using the name Jayland because you're talking about the man who was just shot.
90 times shot at 90 or 100 times. They hit him over 60. So now play it the other way with the transparency officers and the Montesquieu officers. If we play it that way, what happens? The guy runs, but it's a decentralized system with no rankings. Your only commitment is to the Constitution. Your only oath is to uphold the rights of others. So when that guy decides to run, I simply radio over yellow team 14. He's on his way to you.
So we don't know. We have no idea where he's running, what he's
Don't need to know where he's going.
We don't. What if he's going to his girlfriend's house?
Let him go.
To kill her.
What if the world turned to mush tomorrow?
Well, it's not a what if as it's not as frivolous as you make it sound, because that's a situation that occurs all the time. In fact, it's so often that we hear about women who call and say that they need help from an ex-boyfriend and they don't receive the help that they need, and then they end up getting shot, and it's very sad. And of course, we don't want to be throwing people into prison when they're not going to cause harm. Simultaneously, this Jayland person, he shot at the police, correct?
He didn't shoot at the police. They said he fired a gun in his car, and then they found the shell casing right there, which
okay, so
it's just
he
such dog
fired
poop.
a gun as the police were chasing him. And then he gets out of the car, and then you have, 6 officers or 8 officers?
9.
I thought it was an even number.
It was 9.
Okay, fine. 9 officers are all testifying that he reached for his waistband.
Why do we have pigs there? Why not a drone? Why should we put a human being's life in jeopardy there?
What? Because he has a gun, right?
We got to stop with this nonsense.
We don't know where he is already committing crimes, right? As he's being chased by the police, not pulling over for the police.
You just sound like a cop splainer. Mm-hmm. It's just ridiculous. But if you want to kill people, you're going to. If you want to kill me, Lauren, you're gonna. You're not gonna be driving down the road shooting out your car. If you're a psychopath going to kill people, you're not gonna be doing what he was doing. He was doing stupid stuff no matter what he was doing. He was running around, okay? But the idea that we need to send a guy in there with a gun on his side and then the metal on his chest, he's, Fred, did you hear how they were screaming? Did you hear how those cops were screaming? When those cops got out of the car, they were screaming where you could. Show me hands! I mean,
if you know what I would have done if the cop screamed at me to show me his hands, to show me my, probably would have showed him my hands. Probably, and he'd be alive. No.
Lauren, you're not Jayland.
Okay.
You guys are doing different things. You're a different person. You don't have the same education as Jayland. You guys don't have the same education. Mm-hmm. So what did John Locke say?
He had every opportunity to get the same education as me. In fact, he might have had a better
He had every opportunity to get the same education as you? That's a pretty bold statement.
No, it's really not, because I had to compete against rich white girls who were able to pay their way into school. So for instance, I grew up in Orange County, right? So I grew up against the same actors who cheated their way, who had their mommies and daddies be actors, paid that one tutor who fled or whatever, I think they caught him. And they all cheated. So I didn't get into USC on a rowing scholarship. I was a rower. I applied to USC. I had a 4.6. I was on the football team, crew team, soccer team.
You're telling me that you went in Orange County to school and Jayland Walker had the same opportunity education that you did. Same quality.
I'm saying if you apply yourself in high school, no matter what public high school you go to, and if you go to a very, very poor public high school, and unfortunately colleges right now do affirmative action based off skin color.
Did you have a mom and dad?
Okay, so I do agree that the dad aspect does give me a huge, I agree that helps me a lot. That gave me a huge heads up, but I don't think that my white skin, nor do I think that I think wealth can help in a lot of aspects. I got tutors. I had to motivate, like all of that. However, the people that I was competing against also had all of those same things.
You're going off into the deep water here, and you're not facing the adversities that we have in America today. You're not facing the reality that the educational system has failed us, that these kids are not being educated properly, that they're not learning basic English and mathematics, which teaches you logic. What did John Locke say? Show me the character of a man and I'll show you how much education he has. What did John Locke say? Liberty first. Liberty is far-reaching. Freedom first. That's the number one principle of natural law, which our country is based upon. How far are we from that? Right now, they tried to revoke my bond in Ironton for peacefully protesting because I was within 100 feet of a pig. They wanted to put me in. We wouldn't be having this interview right now. I'd be in a dungeon, and you know it. If I had gone to that bond hearing where the cops wrote 4 affidavits saying he came within 100 feet of me, I'd be in jail right now.
Wait, so you bailed on your bond hearing? Absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh, and you think for shame. You think for shame. You think for shame. You think that's really shame.
I'm a little concerned for you. I hate it when our clients don't show up for hearings. It always ends up being way worse for them. And I always want to make their lives easier.
Where would I be right now if I'd gone to the bond hearing? If they revoke my bond.
We have no idea.
No, hold on. If my bond is revoked for being charged with peacefully protesting, which is a misdemeanor, if my bond is revoked in that process, where would I be? Where would I be?
Yeah, you would be in prison. Well, jail.
Okay, and how many people die in the Lawrence County Jail every year?
Well, that statistic.
How many?
Right, is based off the
type
of people that tend to get in prison, and also the suicidal rate of people.
The suicidal rate. I'm suicidal now. I would hang myself in jail in Lawrence County, just like Jeffrey Epstein.
I'm not saying that you are.
But you just said that you're making excuses why people are dying in jail.
Prison?
I've never been to prison. I've been to jail. Yeah, I've been arrested 30 times.
Were the other prisoners an issue towards you?
Yes.
Okay, so those are the type of people that you would want to prevent from being an issue to society.
Type of people? No. Hold on. You've never been to jail. So those. I
go to jail like almost.
No. You've never been in jail. You've never been in jail.
I've never been in jail, but I go to a jail on a
So it's not it's not those types of people. What it is it's a race war, number one.
Not every single person. A lot of people are innocent and they need lawyers, but a lot of people are criminals.
Okay.
And no.
But this is the problem. You gloss over what you're saying with such fluid nail polish. It's almost like a beautiful lacquer. It's so pretty the way you slide over it. I love it. But the truth is this. Once they had revoked my bond, and they would have revoked my bond, how long do I stay in jail with no bond for peacefully protesting? When do I get out of there, counselor? When am I released?
I don't know. I haven't read your paperwork.
No, but if they revoke my bond, when do I get out of jail?
Well, it depends on whatever your sentence was prior.
I don't have a sentence until my trial is over.
Well, I mean,
if I have no bond.
Okay.
Come on. She's a lawyer, for the love of God. Just answer the question. If they revoke my bond, Lauren, how long am I in jail for if I haven't had a trial yet? Just tell the people so they know.
Okay, so the only reason you wouldn't have a bond is if you did something like seriously egregious, like such as murder
or if you break the stipulations of the bond that the judge gave you.
So you're talking about a prior offense. So if you were on parole, you're talking about if you break parole. And then you would look at whatever sentence was in your previous sentence for parole.
Let's give her a chance. Maybe she doesn't really understand all the ins and outs of the case. Maybe she doesn't really.
I don't know your case.
Maybe she doesn't know. So let me catch her up. And you're a lawyer, or at least taking the Arizona bar, and you're practicing right now as a public defender in Arizona. So let me ask you clearly. I was charged with peacefully protesting, and I was charged with resisting arrest and disorderly conduct. 3 charges. I was bonded out for $1,500. Mm-hmm. Then when I went to my first hearing for the case, the judge added stipulations to the bond.
Okay, what were the stipulations?
I couldn't come within 100 feet of a pig.
Okay.
But everybody knew that night I was going to the city council meeting because they were raising the cost of impounding your car to get your car out, which I'm vehemently against. Like I said, it's the driver's license scam. Mm-hmm. So then when I go to court, the judge says, you can't come within 100 feet of these pigs. The same pigs I record in Ironton. And then Pam Wagner, chief of police, called the same pigs to the city council meeting, which is 80 feet by 60 feet. So I'm going to be within 100 feet of the pigs. Mm-hmm. So then the pigs all wrote a sworn affidavit saying he came within 100 feet of me.
So you know what I would do if I were you?
No, let me finish though. I just answer the question. You're a smart person. We've been talking for a while. So then the judge then ordered a bond hearing. I read the affidavits of the pigs. Mm-hmm. It said he came within 100 feet of me and threatened me because I have an ongoing thing with one of those pigs there that I could hold him down on the ground and he wouldn't be able to get up.
You know what I would do if I were you?
So then if I go to the bond hearing and they revoke my bond, just play it out. Just answer the question.
Who's representing you at this hearing?
She won't answer the question.
No,
it's so annoying.
I'll answer your question.
You keep on changing the channel. That's called static noise in communication.
What's your
question? You're adding static and noise, and I'm just trying to get you to answer a basic question.
What's your question?
If I go to the bond hearing and you have 4 pigs who have written sworn affidavits that not only did I violate coming within 100 feet, one said I threatened him, which we've been talking about a wrestling match the whole time I've ever known the guy. And then he said he threatened, he said he could hold me down. But that was the argument we've been having for a long time because I'm a wrestler. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. And if I go to that bond hearing and the judge revokes my bond, how long am I in jail for once I have no bond? That's all I want you to tell the people.
Yeah. And then after,
just tell the people you're a lawyer.
After your trial. And then if you lose your trial and then until after your sentence.
Right. So I'd be in jail when? Now.
That would be assuming that your bond got revoked. That would be even assuming. And then also you have, who's representing you at this hearing?
I'm not going to reveal my attorney right now, but I have.
But you do have an attorney.
I have an attorney coming in right now to go do a place. I don't want to go into it, but yeah. But
Okay,
what
so
she
you
won't
have-
answer clearly is that if I had gone to the bond hearing, people in Ironton, and Waldo, where's Waldo? If he had revoked my bond, I'd be in jail right now. I wouldn't be sitting here having an interview with you. I'd be in jail. I'd be in jail till my trial was over with no bond. Is that correct?
If that's what the judge decided.
Okay. That's why I didn't
can't
go to my
imagine.
bond hearing in Ironton, Ohio.
He may have increased your bonds. He may have changed some of the stipulations of your bond. We have no idea what would have occurred. It probably would have been lighter if you went to the hearing.
No.
Just because our clients who bail, it never turns out good for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really. Because a lot of times you're given offers. So, for instance, if you committed, not that you did, but assuming that you commit 5 or 6 felonies, a lot of those times it'll get dropped down to 1 felony or maybe 2 misdemeanors.
Okay, well, let we have a relationship, but outside of this relationship, talking to the people watching here, if I had gone to the bond hearing after the pigs wrote an affidavit that I had come within 100 feet of them and once that I threatened him, I'd be in jail right now. And in Lawrence County, Ohio, one of the most corrupt counties in all of America, they often sent enforcers in, and I'm struggling to remember the guy's name right now, but it was his name was he was murdered in the Lawrence County jail. So people get murdered in the Lawrence County jail all the time. Matter of fact, Joe, I believe his name is Joe Adkins, and he has a publication he runs. He's still trying to get justice for his mother's murder from 20 years ago, I think. So I'd be in jail right now because the corrupt judge system in America. I'd be in jail.
I'm sorry to hear that.
You're sorry to hear that, but you compared your education and your upbringing to Jalen Walker's.
It is a juxtaposition.
You were in Orange County, California.
We're juxtaposing somebody who is poor and Black and with no parents to somebody with parents who is wealthy and who is white.
Right.
Those are 2 things that you could juxtapose to
Right.
compare. And I made the comparison, and there's a lot of advantages to having, the life that I had. And when it comes to applying to colleges, however, there are also a lot of disadvantages.
Well, you're making this about you and your application to college and affirmative action. What I'm talking about is cops targeting Black people and murdering them.
I don't think that happens, statistically speaking.
You don't think that happens?
No.
Must be nice. Give me the glasses you got. Give me those rose-colored ones, because these ones, those ones have 20/20 vision.
You're fucking blind, Jesus Christ.
I told you. I told you. My vision is perfect. I've laid out the truth. My conservative friends who don't like hearing it, I'm sorry. The laws in our country are based on race, and black people are targeted more than white people, and poor white people are railroaded using Black laws created in the 50s and 60s.
Well, I understand that that's your position, and a lot of people have that position.
It's a true position, and I'm white Colombian, so I understand.
And I took an entire class, and my classmates in law school would probably all agree with you.
You took a class, huh?
It was called mass incarceration. It's about how there's too many people in prison, according to them, and that the prison system was based on race. I personally disagree with that view. I believe.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then tell me about the prison system after 1865.
So, first of all, we did discuss how Reagan did.
Reagan created the for-profit prison system, spurred on by.
That's not what I was talking about. I was talking about the release of people from mental
facilities.
Facilities.
He defunded mental facilities. Ronald Reagan did.
But there were also new legislation making it so that you weren't able to indefinitely confine people based off. They changed a lot of the laws regarding how to treat people who were mentally unwell. And so people who are mentally unwell, it's good that they have more rights and the fact that they have more opportunities to be in life and to get well. That being said, we experience the mentally unwell all the time, and they take up a huge part of our system. Like I would say about 50% of the people that I help have mental health issues, probably over 50% of the people that are in the criminal justice system.
So do you think West Coast Hotel could have anything to do with that? Do you think West Coast Hotel would have anything to do with that?
Why don't you elaborate?
The minimum wage? Do you think that the fight for a minimum wage has helped America?
No, I don't think so. I'm a conservative, so my values are aligned with conservative values. So if it's a conservative value, I'm most likely going to agree with it. And minimum wage is not something that conservatives support.
Yeah, I don't support it either. I believe that you should be paid the value of the labor being imparted. That the value of the labor that you bring should be the value you're paid, is what I think. So, and then because we fought for minimum wage from West Coast Hotel, then what happened? Then people went and banged their head against a wall working for slave labor wages. And then what happened? Pretty soon it drove them nuts. So then I'll just take that hit of heroin and put me up on La La Land. They just get hit of meth because I want to check out of this system.
Don't do meth, especially not here. They don't.
No, I hate
the
meth
laws
too.
don't. No, but like here, you could do any drug. You could do fentanyl. You could do crack. You could do anything but meth. And they give you like okay, slap on the wrist. It's fine. If you do meth here, it's a no-go. Not in this state.
And so instead of you're making my point. Instead of investing in people, we invest in punishment. We invest in punishing that people.
I tried to discuss this with you earlier about the 5 different philosophies of punishment and how it's not simply about harming the person in terms of punishing them, like the traditional thoughts of punishment, like reprimanding them. It's also to prevent them from engaging in society in the repetitively harmful manner that they had been engaging in society.
But that completely negates Rat Park. Then Rat Park is fake.
How so?
So what they showed, what she just said, is we want to get them out of society, right? But Rat Park shows us that when you get someone out of society and take them out of any kind of love zone, then what happens is they regress. They get worse.
It's not about, but for the period, the theory is for the period that they are in prison, they're out of society.
It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea.
But the idea is you cannot leave them. Like, so for instance, let's say I'm just trying to think of a really terrible crime. Like, let's say someone is a pedophile. Let's call it Abe. Abe is a pedophile.
You're not. I don't want to say pedophile because I believe in a pedophile island. So you get caught raping kids, you go to the island, you never come back. So it's just the wrong one for me. I don't have any empathy for pedophiles. So. But
my point being, right, the reason you want to send them to an island is because you want to keep them out of society.
Save from children. No, save the children from them. And I'm not a save the children kind of guy.
Let's change it from pedophile. Let's say
someone beats a woman.
No, let's say serial rapist. Okay. Man is just a serial rapist. He has mental illness and always above 18-year-old women, but always non-consenting rapist, right?
Lauren,
we want to take this person away, right, from the ability to continually rape women.
That is not the top 2 crimes. You keep on conflating criminal mental capacity with someone who just breaks the law. A rapist is someone who's mentally deranged. They are mentally deranged. They are not a normal person. A pedophile is mentally deranged. They're not. Whereas someone who does drugs or steals, the top 2 crimes in America, they're not mentally deranged. They're doing drugs or they're stealing. But that doesn't mean they're going into someone's house and smelling their panties and then raping. There's a big difference between those people. If you study criminal pathology, you will see that rapists and child molesters and mass murderers and killers, those people have a pathology that is not normal. So if we're going to talk about abnormal people, there are people who need to live in a box. I'm sorry. Doesn't make me happy. Doesn't make me happy.
So there is a reason for
criminally insane. Yes, there's a reason why we have criminally insane labels. Yes.
Okay, but so there's a difference, first of all, between criminally insane.
Use your example of meth. You said here you can't smoke meth. You know you can do crack, you can do cocaine, you can do weed, you can do heroin, but no meth. That's what you said. Let's use that example. Okay. So what do? 0 tolerance, right? So then we put the person in a dungeon and they get better.
It's not about them getting better.
Oh, it's not
necessarily. So there's 5 different theories of punishment. So one of the theories is about giving them better. It's about preventing recidivization in rehab.
How's that recidivization working out? How's that going?
So we have tried different ways, different methods of prison, and I don't mind a lot of the ideas that you have. So you have, and we could get further. I really want to get further into that. So you want to have somewhat of a prison system, but you want to make it, if you do something, a minor crime, have it be more like what Sweden was that the?
No, I have 5 levels. I've written 5 levels. And everything that you're saying, just so you know, we've been doing that. And we're the #1 incarceration in the world. We have 14 times more people in prison than China. And they have 2.2. Yes, it is true.
They lie about their numbers. I mean,
okay.
That doesn't even. They
don't get into your right-wing China America garbage. Then use India.
You think that they
use Brazil?
You think
we are the #1 incarceration nation? Am I wrong?
You are right that.
Okay. I don't want to be right. I just want to agree on something.
I don't know about China because they imprison Uyghurs, right? And that's not considered in their numbers. And they have a lot of. They have 2 million Uyghurs right now in concentration camp, and I pray for those people.
2 million? Where'd you get that number? I heard it was 1 million. Last I read on the internet, which was just about a month ago, it was 1 million. 1.04 million, something like that.
Remember during the Holocaust when Germany would lie about the numbers of Jews that were in there?
Oh yeah, I believe it.
So yeah, I believe that they lie, and the larger estimate right now is 2 million.
Okay, so we have a Hitler-esque thing going on over there. Our policy here
as
is,
a Jew and a descendant of Holocaust survivors, what is happening right now to the Uyghur people is absolutely disgusting, on par, equally disgusting to the Holocaust. They are making women, and first of all, they're raping women in front of their families. Okay, they are making.
I can't solve China. I can't solve China.
So don't tell me that the policing here is worse.
It's far worse. No. You're talking one's a genocide, one is policy. Our policy here, you just said it, 0 tolerance if you do meth. Lock you in a dungeon, and you're going to become a better person. We're going to let you out eventually, right? We're not going to throw you in garbage disposal. So when we let you out, what kind of person are you now? And by the way, while you're in there, the people who be the most abusive.
You're a sober person.
Oh, so just as long as we get you sober, screw your soul, screw your sanity, screw your family, screw your children.
We give a lot of options, especially for the first time. Even with
my God, a lot of options for first time.
Rehab. We have a lot of options for rehab.
And the rehabs are for profit for the elite. It's not getting better in Ironton, Ohio. They just keep sending people to rehab, then to jail, then to rehab, then to jail. I have real world examples while you're reading books. I'm talking about real, legitimate, on-the-ground statistics. And I got confidential informants out the wazoo who are calling me every day and saying they just took my daughter, they put her in a rehab, and they put her in another rehab, then they put her in jail. The daughter gets on the phone with me, and she says, they build me up, I graduate. Then they send me to another one. They build me up, I feel good about myself. I'm sober, I graduate. Now I got to do a year in prison. She says, I'm just going to use again. They're going to put me in a dungeon.
What caused her to have to go to the second rehab?
We should talk about that. We should get into solving the person.
So she
and see what's wrong with them.
Again?
This is a good conversation. Let's talk about fixing her. Let's see what's wrong with her.
They're trying with the rehab
but they're not trying.
And also another theory of punishment is to desensitize people from doing crimes. And one of the desensitizations is that if you continue to do this crime, prison is an option.
That's not that is not that's a carrot and a stick, but all you feel is the stick. You never catch the carrot. The carrot's out in a string in front of you. Hey, keep going.
At the graduation, she said, didn't you just say they built her up?
She graduates, and then they throw her in a dungeon. And let me just tell you how the dungeon treatment
first,
is.
And then they throw her into society, and then she uses.
No. Did you not hear what I said? Did you? Maybe I wasn't clear. They put her in a rehab, then they put her in another rehab, then they sentence her to the dungeon. There's no out time. She just goes from rehab to dungeon.
So my question is, so I would need to see the paperwork. So I have yet to have, so I've had a lot of people, and I'm not saying that every cop is good. We have something called a Brady list, and we could see all of the cops who have lied under oath previously in this county. And so when we are representing a defendant who is going up against an officer like that, we could say, didn't you lie previously? So we do keep records of that, and we do make a serious effort to protect our clients' rights. So I have yet to experience somebody who is, and most of my clients, by the way, are drug clients, who has been
punishing drug people is not working
then.
Then putting them in prison or punishing them or rehabbing them, the way we're doing it's not working. Is that fair?
So you're saying rehab nor prison works?
I'm saying that we're not investing in the person and educating the person. We're spending money on the person to come in and get them through rehab, where they go in there and they sit around and talk about this. But where's the education? Where's the advancement in English? Where's the advancement in math? Because if you advance someone in English and math, they learn logic. That's how your brain works. This is John Locke's philosophies. I'm not as smart as John Locke. I'm just repeating John Locke. And by the way, Lauren, when we talk in person, is really on tune with the subject matter. I told you, when the cameras are running, it's hard to stay on track. And so once again, I'm going to veer you back into what we were talking about. We were talking about the zero tolerance policy if you do meth in Arizona. How well is that working?
I think it has reduced the meth rate. We still have a lot of meth use.
I can drive up and down the street around here. There's meth heads everywhere.
Okay, well, we're on a particularly bad street.
I'm just trying to say, and let me make it clear, because Lauren's not my adversary. We're just having a spirited conversation. What I'm trying to say is that when we invest in people, we could solve them by educating them. When you aren't forced into a prison where, by the way, those same pigs are saying, don't look at me, look at the ground, look down at the line. And then there's the sexual assault that happens regularly. And then the guns being pointed at your heads regularly. You demoralize someone. Turn around, squat, cough, let me look up your bottom. That's demoralizing and dehumanizing. And so we break the person down. And then they're in there, they're treated like garbage for how many months or years on end. And then we're not going to put the disposal in a disposal, so we let them out. We're not going to put them down a garbage disposal. Then when they get out, they beat up your kid or rape your kid because they're mentally deranged at this point from the amount of abuse they receive for years on end. We didn't educate them.
Everybody who goes to prison ends up becoming abusers.
The Brooklyn shooter, what'd he say? They made me this way. They put me in prison.
I think a lot of people make excuses for themselves. I think I disagree. I do think that prison doesn't necessarily make you a good person. However, I do know people who went to prison, and I think, like, for instance, my ex, right? He was in prison for 5-6 years, and he just came out recently, and I think he's doing not only really well in life, I think that he is a better person now. I
don't want to get distracted. What I'm trying to say, Lauren, I've traveled the country for almost a year now, meeting people, talking to people, seeing their lives, getting the input, what happened to that person. The prison system creates more crime. Torturing people creates an angry society.
So what would you do instead of prisons?
There's 5 levels, and it'll come out in transparency, peace, justice.
Isn't
the
that
first
similar
level
to just lighter prisons and then heavier prisons?
No, you don't lock people up. Right off the bat, you don't lock them up. Why would you lock somebody in a dungeon?
It's still a form of prison, though, because
it's not.
Well, as you said, there's the Swedish prison, and then there's also prisons in Mexico in which people are allowed to have commerce, have their own society.
You're not allowing the people to understand what my idea is.
I am asking.
So what I'm saying is, when you get caught with drugs, you have to go through a mandatory education problem at one of the decentralized portables or double-decker buses. You have to get the education. If you don't, you will enter the second level of punishment. And then if you fail on that one, you'll enter the third level, where eventually you get to a place where you're locked into somewhere. And that sucks for you. But most people, they'll take the education over going to the dungeon. And most people, I would say 90%, I don't know the percentages, but people who get educated, learn fundamental English basic structure, which teaches you logic, will become better people. But I guarantee you, Jalen Walker probably couldn't read Shakespeare out loud.
What if they tried, right? So, like, let's say you're sentenced to a year, right? And you have to learn, and I don't speak English, I'm illiterate, and I have to be literate by the time I'm released.
You're going to have to work real hard.
Okay, so if I'm still illiterate at the end of the year, you would extend my sentence?
Yeah, so you don't go to a prison. You check into the portable. And then what happens is there's other people who also have to learn. And the only way you get out of this is by learning a curriculum. And we don't do that in our schools. The teachers pass people so they can get their teachers union. It's garbage. This is where my conservatism starts to show. I think people should get vouchers. Let your kids be educated the way you want to educate them. This public school system is trash. I would never send a kid to that public school system. Without an education, you will become a criminal. If you work for minimum wage and you don't have algebraic equation in your mind, if you can't do quadratic formula, there's a very simple equation I do. X equals 9, Y equals 6. X minus Y equals consequences. And people say, what are you talking
I'm
about?
pretty sure it's x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b minus square root.
I'm not talking about quadratic formula. I'm talking about a very simple formula. If x equals 9 and y equals 6, x minus y equals consequences. And if you can't do that equation in your mind, you're likely going to commit a crime because your impulsiveness. You didn't think it through. Obviously, 9 minus 6 equals 3. But if you can't do that in your mind, if you can't get a basic sentence structure, comma, period, quotations, then you're going to be a criminal because your brain doesn't process the consequences of your actions. I remember so many times seeing someone in handcuffs. The camera walks up, hey, man, why'd you do it? And the guy goes, I don't know. I don't know why I did it. Yeah, because he has no education. I mean, remember, I'm not, everybody knows, I openly say I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm an encyclopedia.
Don't say that about yourself.
I'm an encyclopedia of knowledge, as you know. This last night, I sat here and displayed my education with these folks, right? And I have come to understand that I have a lot of knowledge. I didn't mean to get it. I just do. There's nothing. I'm just a guy who has this thing. As you know, I've told Lauren time and time again, I don't understand the position that God has put me in. I don't get it. But I have been able to retain an amazing amount of knowledge. And what I quote to you guys are just philosophers from the Enlightenment era who I read their writings, and we have to educate people, not punish them. And that's where I'm at.
Okay. So along with your ideas is getting rid of handcuffs that you call torture cuffs.
There are. She's never been in them. She's never been in the torture cuffs. You've never been in them.
Well, that is to say.
How many of your people watching? How many been in torture cuffs?
Okay, chat. Let's give a 1 for you've never been in torture cuffs.
1, you haven't been in torture cuffs.
2, you have been in torture cuffs.
2, you have been in torture cuffs. Put it right here. 1, you've been in torture cuffs. 2, you have not. Right? Put it in there. Right? If you have not been put in torture cuffs the way that I've been put in torture, do you know why I can't? Do you know why I hate pigs? Because the torture cuffs.
That's the only reason.
Oh no, that's the beginning of the reasons. But the first reason,
we can solve that maybe. The
first time I was 18 years old, I get this. Ready for this? I'm walking down the street. I've been drinking. I left my buddies. I'm walking home. I haven't done anything wrong. I'm just walking home. I've had some beers. I'm 18. The cops in my small little town pull up next to me, like, where are you going? I don't know any better. I say, I'm just going home, man. And they're like, they pull the car right in front of me and stop my path. You been drinking? What do you guys want? Turn around, put your hands behind your back. They put those torture cuffs on me. And let me tell you something. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. To this day, it makes me ill.
Yeah.
Remembering, I see an 18-year-old guy outside, you know, because they're not a kid. 18 years, you can sign up for the military, you can go die for this country. So you're not a kid. I see an 18-year-old young man outside, 18-year-old young woman outside. And the idea that I would grab the cuffs out of my bag and run out there and put the torture cuffs on this kid for drinking a beverage and then take him down to a dungeon where he's going to get looked up his backside. You think that's right?
I agree with you that some legislature could be changed to change not only the drinking age, change the consequences for underage drinking, change the laws regarding use.
But we didn't do that. It's getting worse. We just criminalized alcohol under 21. We just criminalized tobacco under 21.
So first of all, that's true. But first of all, America.
Don't gloss over it like a nail job.
America has we can try different laws in different areas. It's one of the great things about federalism, right? So if you disagree with something, so for instance, in California, you can't have an abortion. In Idaho, Texas, you may not.
You're glossing over it. Go back to it. I just said they just criminalized tobacco under 21. What's happening to 18-year-olds today?
Oregon,
what's happening?
So in Oregon, right, they decriminalized a lot of the drugs, and they're struggling right now with maintaining some of the, like, for instance, Portland is really struggling right now with rampant homeless issues. The state, with its legalization, drew in a lot of people who were seeking that sort of a lifestyle. And now I think that state is struggling because of the decriminalization. That being said, I do see why there might be an issue to have a law on the books that prevents you from partaking in a substance where it doesn't hurt anyone but yourself.
It prevents you?
I'm agreeing.
Does it prevent you though? Does it prevent you though? Is there a prevention happening?
What do you mean?
once again, you glossed over the topic at hand here like a figure skater. It was brilliant. You're going to be an amazing lawyer one day.
I hope so.
Okay, but let me say it again. They just criminalized tobacco for anyone under 21 years old.
Yeah.
So if you look like you're 19 and you're 24, then what's happening on the street level right now? What do pigs do the most? Harass kids. Pigs target kids. They target kids. And if you didn't know that, it must have been nice being raised in Orange County.
We don't have that many juvenile cases, actually.
Okay.
We get juvenile cases, and we don't have that many juvenile cases. We have more adult cases than we do juveniles.
Okay. So the criminalization of tobacco has done what to people who are under 21 years old? What has it done? Did they stop smoking cigarettes? Did they give up their vape pen? Did that happen?
Oh, so you're saying people who had an addiction so people who were like 18 years old and maybe previously smoking cigarettes, that law turned them into criminals.
It turned them into a criminal overnight.
Right.
And now if they go outside to smoke a cigarette on break and they're 19, then you get a pig in your face.
It's a ticket, right?
Everything's arrestable. 2001, Atwater versus City of Lago Vista. Everything is arrestable. There's no infraction that's not arrestable.
By arrestable, you mean like any
I
infraction?
can arrest you and take you to jail. It is.
Actually, it depends on the jurisdiction.
You're incorrect. The holding was written by a liberal judge named. I can tell you the exact holding. Here's what it says: if a cop sees you violate the law, even a small infraction of the law, it is not a violation of your Fourth Amendment right if you are arrested.
Do you know anyone who was
2001.
arrested for smoking a cigarette?
I've been arrested for nothing. I've been arrested for jaywalking. I've been arrested for being at a party. I've been arrested for jets.
Do you know any teenagers subsequent to this law change who were arrested due to the law change?
I know tons and tons of teenagers who are being harassed by cops for tobacco, for smoking their vape. They come up, let me see your ID. What's going on over here? We don't need you in their lives, pig. Let them be young. You're not young anymore. Let them enjoy being 18. Let them enjoy being 19. It's a beautiful age if you're free. We got to get rid of this guy who can enter into your world based on him being suspicious that you're underage and smoking a cigarette, and that's Terry.
How is that different than your transparency peace officer, despite the fact that the transparency person would not have a gun?
Because transparency peace officers...
They would have the cameras. They would have them on to keep listening to them at all times.
What's the first principle of transparency peace officers?
I would assume transparency.
Rights protectors. We are here to defend rights. That's it. So if you're smoking and you're not hurting anybody else, I got nothing to say to you. If I go in somewhere and I see that you have a Coke on your table, cocaine, you're not hurting anybody.
Wouldn't that be well, that's the law in Oregon.
No, that's not the law. We have law enforcement in our country, Lauren. It's terrible.
No, but currently right now it's not. You can't get arrested in Oregon for possessing drugs.
You should not be arrested for possessing drugs.
Okay, and that right now is creating a massive spike of drug use in that municipality.
We have 314 million people in America. If they say that up to 10% of society, of 10% of people can become addicted to drugs hopelessly. That's the round numbers I've heard. Maybe the numbers have changed. Maybe people know more than me.
I'd be addicted to it. I hear it's great.
Coke sucks. You want to try something? Try ecstasy or try DMT.
Okay.
Ecstasy is amazing if you have real ecstasy, and DMT is awesome if you break through and meet God like I did. It changed me as a person.
What did he look like?
It was a treat. I don't want to get lost. But what I'm saying to you is listen. So that's of 314 million. That's 31 million people who could be hopelessly addicted to drugs. We don't have a city in America with 31 million people. California has 30 million people. I mean, I think that was the number last time.
People are fleeing to California because of more lenient policies on homelessness and on drug use. They're fleeing states in which there's stricter policy, and then they're creating hazards in California. Right,
because our tax dollars are going to investment of the people or to wars and cops.
Well, we do have in California, there are major investment. In fact, in Los Angeles, the biggest investment is into the homeless population, and same with San Francisco. Yet they have some of the worst homeless problems in the nation.
It's what you're saying is fundamentally false. It's like your idea of a Terry stop. You reading words on a piece of paper.
Why don't we talk about Terry v. Ohio? So you want Terry v. Ohio to be overturned?
Gone.
Okay, so let's talk about what was the issue in Terry v. Ohio.
Well, it was a racist decision based on racism.
But what was the legal issue? What were they
So
discussing?
the legal issue was whether or not a cop could run up and grab you, a violation of your Fourth Amendment right. The cops saw John Terry, who was milling around downtown Cleveland in 1963. You're not allowed to be milling around downtown if you're black in 63. The 64 Civil Rights Act actually freed black people. 1954.
Was he like looking into
buildings,
mm-hmm.
looking into windows?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say he was looking into all the windows. And what?
And then talking to somebody on the corner.
Oh, coordinating? A mentally ill man was coordinating his robbery?
And then running back to the window. I mean,
he was mentally ill.
So I think this is the difference, because you were saying there was
no. You are not going to bastardize John Terry. Okay, John Terry was mentally.
I'm not going to bastardize.
No. Let me finish. John Terry was milling around. He was downtown Cleveland and excited. He was with Chilton and Katz. I have a full breakdown of the case, where they were standing, everything. They went to their graves saying, we were not going to rob any place. Okay, John Terry was milling around looking at things. I guarantee you that black man hadn't hung around downtown Cleveland very often. Blacks were only freed in 54. Okay, so let me finish the story. So you're going to this idea that they were going to be able to stop a robbery by grabbing John Terry. That's dog poo.
No, I'm just saying that there's a difference between reasonable suspicion, right?
Reasonable suspicion is created where? Where does reasonable suspicion come from?
So
where's it come from? The idea of reasonable suspicion comes from what?
Obviously, are you trying to get me to say the mind of the...
From Terry versus Ohio. The whole idea of reasonable suspicion did not exist before 1968. Now you use reasonable suspicion as though it's part of our government, part of our foundation. It's not.
It's stare decisis. It is.
So now you want the monarchs to decide for us.
Well,
the 9 unelected.
Well, according to our Constitution, right? We have laws written by the legislature, and then when there is legal misunderstanding, it gets taken to the courts, and then the courts decide on the meaning of the laws. And reasonable suspicion was a phrase, yes, adopted in the courts during Terry v. Ohio, because they were trying to make a distinction between probable cause and reasonable suspicion.
Probable cause is where you have broken the law. Probable cause, the law has been broken, and for certain, and then they bastardized it. If you just read the Fourth Amendment is the right of the people to be secure. No, I got it right here. You don't need to look up anything.
I'm going to bring it up.
You don't need to look. You can do whatever you want. Okay. So let me just explain to you guys what the Fourth Amendment says. The Fourth Amendment says clearly, it is the right of the people to be free in their person, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. And no warrant shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched or the person or things to be seized. That means for you to be arrested, then what would have to happen is you would have to commit probable cause, which is breaking the law, and then it would have to be sworn by oath or affirmation of the victim that you created. But you trying to say that John Terry was milling around, looking into buildings, he hadn't broken the law. And now with the camera systems today, we could actually make it so that we can just film you. And if you're going to be a psychopath, you're going to get caught. You're going to get caught. And I want criminals to get caught. I don't want criminality. The liberal policies of not dealing with people who steal is horrible. You're not protecting people's rights. Just let it go, man. I know exactly what it is. I can tell you what it says.
I understand. I wanted to bring it up.
I'm just telling you what it says. I mean, I know it word for word.
No, I understand. I understand that you know it word for word. It's still nice to have it up.
So the Fourth Amendment is the first line is the Fourth Amendment is the right of the people.
Yeah.
To be secure in their person, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures.
Unreasonable is a very key word there.
Shall not be violated. Mm-hmm. So the idea that John Terry just looking around buildings, it's reasonable to run up and grab him, that is morbid from someone who's educated.
So they determined that it wasn't an unreasonable thing
to cops to run up and grab you.
To
pat you down.
And pat them down.
And why was that though? Why'd they do it? Give me cultural context, not words. Cultural context. Why they do it?
There are states that don't follow.
No, but why'd they do it though? What was going on in 63? It happened in 1963, not 1968. What was going on in 1963?
Why don't you tell me what you're thinking?
The Black Panthers.
Well, I don't think that necessarily the Black Panthers.
No, you're incorrect. You're incorrect. I'm not trying to be mean to you. Let me try it again.
No, please educate me.
Okay, so the day after Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, the next day, Earl Warren met in the White House with Lyndon Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
What did they talk about? They had already predetermined Terry v. Ohio. I believe it was April 13th, right? So
that would be illicit.
So they met the day after he was assassinated.
Mm-hmm.
Then when did they pass Terry? 2 days after Robert Kennedy's assassinated, June 6th. June 10th, the Terry holding comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Because now we got to let cops grab people. They could have a gun. Everybody.
Do you know how long it takes for a Supreme Court decision to come out?
Oh, I know how long this one took. It was from December 10th, 1967 until June 10th, 1968.
So you think that it would be able to switch within just 2 days? Like they have to draft an opinion.
Are you kidding me, man? Are you kidding me? Are you serious right now? They have opinions pre-crafted for things that they're going to put into place that it hasn't even happened yet. And you can look
They have to wait in order for the Supreme Court to start discussing something, they have to have.
Wow. So you read these things. Let me give her a lot of credit. She reads, and she learns a lot of information that she's taught. And God bless her. She's taught me things. Having you share things with me. Look at this screenshot. Read this here. Take a look at this data. She's taught me a lot of things.
Yeah.
What you haven't done though, is she hasn't read Cynic versus United States. What does Cynic versus United States say?
I have read a ton of cases.
So what does Cynic say? You can't scream fire in a busy movie theater. Your First Amendment right is limited.
That was overturned.
But what does it say? Your First Amendment right is limited. Was that opinion written for Cynic versus United States? I believe it's 1916. I can't remember the year. Cynic versus United States. But listen, the opinion for Cynic was written previously. They just they said, don't put it on this case, put it on the Cynic case. So what are you talking about?
So you're not allowed to. So if they were discussing the case prior, they could have withheld an opinion until later case. That's totally fine. They're not allowed to start discussing the case before cases before them. However,
they do.
You're not allowed to give advisory opinion. So
your people over here watching, the people who are watching Lauren's stream, they're going to be some people who are in law school and some people who are lawyers and some people who are legal professionals. So let's ask the legal professionals over there. Let me give them a little breadcrumb, and then they can go ahead and do the work. Okay? And here it is. The Cynic versus United States case, the opinion was already written. It was already written for a different case. And I don't want to go through my repertoire of it'll take me a while to get it. But they wrote the opinion for another case. And then I want to remember the Supreme Court justice who told him, no, let's not use it for this case. Let's use it for another case. And then they just used the same opinion, changed it ever so slightly, and they applied it to the Cynic case.
You're allowed to have draft opinions, and then you can also choose to.
Who's drafting who's allowed to have draft opinions? People that we elected?
Supreme Court.
Who do we elect those people?
We elect a president, and that president gets to choose those people.
She's going to be a hell of a good lawyer, man. Could you imagine? You want that? You want her for your lawyer.
This is the way that the Supreme Court was set up in the Constitution this way, so that we wouldn't have people who are trying to be a part of politics. We didn't want.
Clarence Thomas isn't trying to be a part of politics.
As a Supreme Court justice, he's not supposed to be a political figure.
Is he a political figure? Is he involved in politics?
I think unfortunately the entire Supreme Court has been really bastardized in terms of it's become political, but it definitely would have been way worse if they were vying for the position via election. Okay, but
the Constitution was set up that we didn't elect senators either, right?
You're talking.
We didn't elect U.S. senators when the Constitution. You said the president picks the Supreme Court. You said historic. I mean, you pretty much said the history of our country says that the president will appoint
the Constitution.
The Constitution, and you said the president will appoint.
And then
them.
there's been amendments to the Constitution.
Okay, and so what was one of those amendments?
You're talking about
The 17th Amendment.
Senate.
The 17th Amendment is what?
Gosh, wow, you're really putting me on the spot.
No, I'm not trying to get you.
I know the 18th
Okay,
Amendment.
so the 17th Amendment
elects
elects senators in the year
so you're saying
1913.
That's the way that it changed the way that.
Why did we elect senators? You're talking about the Lochner Era from 1897 to 1937.
Okay.
So what is the Lochner Era?
So, well,
That ends with what
disagree.
case? But that ends with what case? West Coast Hotel.
Okay.
Okay? So what happens from 1897 to 1937? What is the Lochner case 1905?
Okay.
Are you following?
I'm
Okay,
following.
so
I
the
don't
Lochner
particularly
case.
like the Lochner era. But go ahead.
No one likes the Lochner Era. So the Lochner Era is going to be 1897 to 1937.
Democrats like the Lochner
And what happens during this time period, just so people understand what I'm saying, is the senators are working with big business, with bread companies specifically,
era. Okay.
and delivery companies and milk companies. And then you're going to get Caroline Products versus United States in 1938, which is supposed to be after the Lochner Era ends, but they still give this big boon to the dairy industry. Here's my point, though. I want to get to the point of this.
Do you want to overturn Caroline?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think the dairy industry should not get a monopoly.
Wait.
But let me finish. Let me finish my train of thought here so I don't confuse people.
What do you think what Caroline is about?
Giving a monopoly to the milk industry. You're
Yeah,
going to get
it's
strict.
making it so that you're allowed to prevent people from drinking oil.
That is not the case at all. That is not the. You might be thinking of a different case, but that's not the case. You're not drinking oil.
It was like a milk
Cream,
substitute.
coconut cream.
It wasn't. It was a oil substitute that was really unhealthy. That was being labeled as a milk-like product that people were consuming, and they were concerned that
the dairy industry would be slighted. They'd make less money because the senators were owned by the dairy industry. And so why did we change? We elected senators with the 17th Amendment. Why? Because they were working with big business and they were corrupted. So we elected senators in the year 1913 with the 17th Amendment because it wasn't working.
So you're saying elections are corrupted?
For the love of God.
So then
For the
why,
love of
if you
God.
Think elections
For the
are,
love of God.
If you think elections are corrupted.
That's not what I said at all. We were talking specifically where you said that in the Constitution, it says that the president appoints Supreme Court justices so they don't become politicized. And I said to you, well, if you go back to the Lochner Era, 1897 and 1937, specifically the 1905 case of Lochner versus New York, then what you start to see is that the reason why we elected senators with the 17th Amendment in 1913 is because the senators had been colluding with big business.
So to politicize them.
The senators had been colluding with big business because they were appointed.
So
appointed.
So you're saying it was a corruption.
I'm saying that when you appoint someone, there's no obligation to the people. You bypass any kind of accountability.
Oh, so you're saying that creating the election structure made it so that they were accountable. So you were saying
it's supposed to. We can vote them out now.
So the exact opposite. Okay.
We need to elect the Supreme Court. It's not political. It's totally political. It's almost like saying a nickel's not silver as you flip it up in the air. It's ridiculous. The Supreme Court is completely political. It's so politicized. It's more politicized than any other organization. Have you seen Sheldon Whitehouse's 6-part documentary called Dark Money from the senator from Delaware?
No.
Okay. He explains in explicit detail how they're hiding money so that they can make sure they get their Supreme Court justice appointed. You think this last Supreme Court justice wasn't hand-groomed from the time she was in law school? She'll do the bidding of the Chamber of Commerce. I mean, you're saying things, and look, it's maybe not fair because this isn't her area of study, it's mine. But what I'm saying is, if we don't elect Supreme Court justices, it'll continue. It'll get worse and worse and worse. I know that I don't want to give away the cat out of the bag or anything, but you're pro-choice. So this Supreme Court, you're pro-life. So this Supreme Court just did your bidding, pro-life, right? You're happy with them.
To a certain extent, I don't agree with all of their rulings.
But that's a big one for you.
I think that's I also think that Roe v. Wade was a very poorly decided case.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. But if we wipe away Roe v. Wade, we wipe away our 9th Amendment. Is birth control next? Is grid walls versus Connecticut next?
Why would you assume that?
Because your Ninth Amendment is what gives you your right to body autonomy and to privacy.
Well, the Ninth Amendment is just
Unenumerated.
essentially a catch-all, saying that the Constitution doesn't have all of the rights of the people. It's not saying, but just because we say that Roe v. Wade was wrongly decided, that doesn't mean that we're saying all cases that follow after Roe v. Wade are wrongly decided.
Which, by the way, just so you know, Roe v. Wade happened in 1973. We're at 2022. That is the fastest turnaround in a Supreme Court case I've ever seen. I've never seen a case 50 years and it's over. I mean, Brown versus Board of Education, which was supposed to free black people, even though it didn't until 1964 to the Civil Rights Act, that was 54 to 96. You were looking at 58 years there for racial legal racism. And that happened 58 years. They overturned Roe v. Wade in 49 years, which is just amazing. So that means that they are political. They're involved in the politics of their country. You're making my point.
I don't believe that just because something happened quickly, it necessarily makes it political.
Well, then how come for the past 20 years, the Republican Party has been grooming to get the people they want in there, even denying Obama a chance to appoint someone because he's in the last year of his term?
Who was he trying to appoint?
That's not the point.
Merrick Garland.
That's not the point.
Merrick Garland.
You're missing the point. You just said, which is
it,
a counselor? Either you think that the Constitution, the president appoints Supreme Court justices and you should follow that, or option B, that we should just decide who he's going to appoint before you allow the Constitution to take its course.
But we followed it constitutionally to block that Supreme Court justice, the conservative.
It wasn't constitutional at all.
How is it not constitutional?
Obama limp dick didn't do his job and fight back properly.
What was he supposed
excuse
to
my
meet
language. Sorry about that. Obama to me is the biggest disappointment of my life. I've never seen a bigger disappointment.
Yeah, imagine being black.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry for you black folks. I'm sorry for you black folks who had hope in Obama, who could have decriminalized marijuana. He could have emptied a quarter of our prisons. He could have passed the First Step Act. Instead, he let Trump do it. And so you get to this point where, look, let's try to get on course here. Because the whole idea is, you see that everybody can see the consternation here, the conversation here, right? The whole point is there's no cameras in the courts, there's no audios in the courts, and so we're all getting screwed. There's no transparency with cops. We keep on trying to punish people instead of help people, and it's not working. The reason, listen, I'm an abrasive, aggressive mofo. I am not someone people would typically be like, yeah, let's back him. Why are people backing me? Why do 500 people come to my channel? Why? Because it doesn't matter if I'm perfect or not. It matters that I know this is worse than anything I've ever done. This system sucks.
What system's better?
A new system is better.
Okay, but like what?
Norway has a better system.
Norway, okay, and so you want to apply the Norway model?
I didn't say that. You asked me which has a better system.
I'm just asking.
I'm saying I want to get, the only way we're ever going to get to the actual Bill of Rights with rights protectors is when we abolish law enforcement, abolish cops, abolish pigs, abolish police, and we go to a rights protective system that's based on a camera system and a constitutional amendment that says we get that camera footage within 24 hours. Because people are being ruined by the time they get the camera footage.
It sounds like you really want to burn down the system and then build a new.
I don't accept that. That's a straw man you built, put me in it, and then said that's what I think. That's not true at all. Okay. I never said that.
I'm sorry.
Well, I don't want to burn anything down. I'm against violence. I'm against burning anything.
Not physically burning. I mean,
but you use those words, you got to be careful. Those are weapons of war.
Metaphorically
right?
burning down the system, getting rid of, abolishing police.
I wouldn't even use those words. I'm for changing this system completely. We have jackboot thug pigs who have no education. Okay. I know this because I walk up to them and I take them apart. And the reason they can't touch me is because I haven't broken the law. Mm. I know the law. Mm. They can't touch me. Mm. I'm literally using Houston versus Hill, the stare decisis, right? So the reason why there's people here now is because change is needed. And it's not going to take some soft, limp stick like Obama. It's going to take someone who goes in there and says, I'm sick of this. This changes. And you have to have this fire inside of you that burns so hot that it can, I could sit here right now.
But my point is you would want to get rid of the current system.
Well, it's going to be a phase. The first step is getting a constitutional amendment that we get the camera footage. That's the number one problem How many people disagree with that? If you just got the frickin' camera footage, so many people wouldn't even have a trial. I had an Arizona court case. They've already tried me, found me guilty. I've already appealed and lost, and I still don't have the camera footage. Why is that? How's that due process of law?
I haven't read any of your paperwork. I'd be more than happy to read your paperwork, and I'd also, once I graduate from the bar, be willing to help you file something to see. I mean, once I read the paperwork.
Like a lawsuit, but I'm just inundated in lawsuits right now. I can't keep up with all the lawsuits I'm doing right now. It's a lot of work.
I have yet to see. We've had one person not get the camera footage, and that person
What?
we are anticipating.
What? Right now?
All of the people. We have.
Say it again.
Clients.
Talk a little louder so they can hear you. What'd you say?
We have hundreds of clients, and out of the hundreds of clients, we have had only one person not be able to get the body camera footage thus far, and we anticipate that person to be acquitted due to the fact that we don't have the body camera footage, and thus no charges alleged can be proved.
Now, do me a favor, guys. If you can't get the body camera footage, send me an email. can'tgetbodycam@gmail.com. can'tgetbodycam@gmail.com. Let me know on the subject line the city, state, and the pig agency that won't give you your camera footage. And I guarantee you right now, there's going to be 50 people from the 500 here and however many are there.
Let's see. Okay, give us let's do a 3 in the chat if you've ever been in the system and been unable to get body camera footage.
What are you talking about? In the system? I've never been in the system. I've never been convicted of anything. Shoplifting when I was 19 years old.
But you've been through gone to jail. And
I've been to jail 30 times.
So 3 in the chat if you've been accused and been unable. So we have a Mitchell McCall. I'm very sorry. So we have a few people who are saying that they are unable to get. I have yet to see that.
It must be lovely.
Except for that one person, and then they were not acquitted.
It must be lovely. Mm-hmm. It must be nice to. I have someone who wrote me yesterday, who said they can't get the body cam footage. They told me this big long story, and then I read the 16 paragraphs they sent me. Please don't send me 16 paragraphs. Just synopsis your story in a paragraph or two. I'll read it. I'll reply to you. Do you have a video? In today's world, just so you know, you can't get a video.
Happened to somebody else 23 times.
I don't read them because it distracts me. But so now let me tell you something. I just went to I was in Southern California. I know a bunch of rich people. I went to a rich person's party for 4th of July. Mm-hmm. And I'm who I am. So I sat there and had a conversation.
Rich people.
Lauren comes from Orange County, California. If you're unfamiliar, Orange County, California is not hurting socioeconomically. So now I went to this people who had some money, and I started talking to them about my idea of transparency, that we need an amendment that gives us, and the guy immediately said, Chille, the problem is we don't get the camera footage. And this was someone definitely on the right. And he said, if we only could get the camera footage. And he's the one actually that made me realize we actually need it to be a civil right that you get the camera footage, unredacted, unedited, meaning it can't be the pigs. The camera footage has to go from the pigs' eyes and in the back of their head to the Montesquieu agency. And at first, it's going to be a transition because I believe that if you're going to be a transparency peace officer, you need 3 years of training. And I lay out what those 3 years of training are on transparency, peace, justice.
I don't disagree with you that, especially with all of the people in your comment section saying that they're not getting their body camera footage. I don't disagree with you that people should have a right to body camera footage when they are being accused of a crime. You have a right to face your accused.
Well, right now the accused is who? Who's the accuser? Terry versus Ohio. Who gets to accuse you now? The cop swears he was suspicious of you, so you got to get on your knees. Think that's right?
I think that officers have a really difficult job.
Officers?
Just because I call them that.
We've been going round and round about this. You are not an officer because you're a pig. You don't get to be called officer because you sign up to be a pig. You're not doing a service. Thank you for your service. Pigs are pigs. They get paid to oppress us. That's not a service. They are the modern day Nazis. They are the worst of humanity. I would never do those things to you.
I appreciate that.
I would never, to any of those people, to any of these people, I would never put you in torture cuffs. I would never shoot you with a taser. I would never nightstick you. I would never put you in the back of a claustrophobic little car where your feet barely fit in. I would never take you to a rape cage. I would never charge you with crimes that will last you for years. And I'll tell you what, if you got the camera footage within 24 hours, there wouldn't be so many charges, because if we had it on the eyes, we would be able to see. And the idea that we chase people. I just watched this guy the other day, the donut operator. He's got an 11-minute video. I already downloaded it. I'm going to do a review on it. He lied about everything almost. What a lying fraud the donut operator is. He said, well, we got 9 cops and they said his hand was coming. No, the cops don't make statements for 72 hours. So when he made the video, none of those cops had made that statement. Not true. It's a lie. And then he said, the cops are driving there. They hear a shots fired. Their adrenaline's going. The sirens are going. They're revving there.
Or
they're going as fast as they can.
They saw the cop. There was a flash of light, from my understanding.
Dude, just imagine if everybody had stopped their vehicles, released the drone on the top of their car.
So we would have to purchase a drone for every cop.
Yes, we need to go to a drone system. Yes.
So we purchase. Okay, so.
And then once you know transparency,
so we would have a Montesquieu officer, one per 1,000 population. How would that work?
No. The Montesquieu officer watches everything through the cameras. We don't need to be on the scene. Transparency peace officers do that job.
How many Montesquieu officers are there? Is it per county? Is it per country? Are they?
It's based on population and need. So imagine this for a moment. When we pass the constitutional amendment that you get the footage, you get that footage, then that would mean there has to be an agency created that gets all the camera footage from all the pigs. You can't have a system where the pigs get the camera footage. That doesn't work.
I understand that you're saying that there needs to be a separate
agency. Completely.
Right.
You agree?
I see that. I can be for that.
Me too. I think a lot of conservatives would. I definitely identify with conservative perspective. I want a frickin' border. I'm all for it. Build a frickin' border.
Build a wall.
Okay? I don't want to get in some right-wing kind of crazy stuff because I don't support the left or the right. I support the center. But I do believe we should have strong borders. I do believe that we should have America first. America, baby. America. Yeah. I'm all about it.
Sure.
I salute this country. I love America. So the idea that people would say, I'm not going to celebrate the 4th of July. Well, then don't.
Fuck you.
Go and put your head in the toilet and cry.
Goodbye.
But you're free. You could actually run for Congress and change this crap.
Exactly. Don't you love that you're free here?
We're not free. You're free to do what you want as long as the police state doesn't grab you.
Okay. So do you want to petition the legislature to?
No, I want to be the legislator.
Here's my thing.
That's
I feel like a lot of what you're saying is saying, I want to take the system now. The system now is so corrupt.
So bad.
That it cannot be saved.
It cannot be fixed.
So it needs to get.
Right, but we have to do it slowly. You can't just get rid of. So let me make that clear. You cannot just delete all cops in America.
You don't want to
that
delete
won't
all
work.
laws?
I want laws. I'm for law and order.
Delete laws.
Delete laws.
Yeah.
No, I do. I want laws. I'm for law and order. The people who are calling me a statist, right? The people on YouTube, you know what? Maybe they're right. Maybe I am for law. Maybe I am pro that we have a government that works. Maybe I'm for that. Now, what's happened is where they're also correct is I don't want one man to rule over me. So now when you give a guy a hunk of metal on his chest and a gun and no accountability, no one else is looking through the camera, just him. We saw this the other day with the girl, 14 years old. She smacked her boyfriend. The case just the other day, right? Was that, I can't remember where that was. But then they tracked her down to prosecute her, brought 4 pigs, and then they attacked her. And the guy's going, just throw her on the ground and get it over with. Those cops could hold that guy down. You shoot me with that taser, you're just going to make me mad. I'm not stopping. You go after my 14-year-old daughter to put her in cuffs, I'm afraid that my time on earth may be done. I'm not going to watch that happen. And if you try it, guess what's going to happen?
How is that beneficial to your daughter?
You don't get to grab my daughter for having a spat with her boyfriend.
Why not file civil rights suit?
You don't get a fair shake in court.
I don't see that.
Well, then look at my chart. It's on deletelaws.com. Look at my poster on deletelaws.com. If you can't afford it, I'll give it to you for free. You look at the prison system go like this from Terry versus Ohio, and you go, why is this happening? There's no accountability for judges. They get immunity. Prosecutors get immunity. Legislators get immunity. Pigs get immunity. So who's responsible if they do you wrong? Nobody.
That's not true. If you're done wrong, there are ways
Oh,
to get...
sure, you bet. If you can prove that he knew that he was violating your civil rights, and you can prove that they purposely I mean, come on. And then you got some bootlicking judge up on the stand. Well, he was working in good faith. Good faith means whatever I think is good faith. I'm working in good faith with Lauren. I didn't mean to shove her off her chair. It was good faith. I was pushing her away from a spider. I swear there was a spider. You didn't see it?
Highly recommend not doing that.
I'm giving you an example.
I'm kidding. Yeah.
I'm giving you an example. And Lauren saw me push the troll away from me. I didn't shove the troll. Could you imagine if Lauren?
I dislike that troll.
But you saw the video. Could you imagine if I shoved her? I mean,
she's a big lady.
I'm pretty
She
powerful.
can take a big chug.
She's a big lady.
She is a big lady.
I have a lot of physical power. So if I had, what I'm trying to say is this idea that we're going to use the NAP, the non-aggression principle. It's just not true. People are physical. You're going to have some physicality between people. The question is, are you doing something maliciously? Are you doing something with the intent to harm another person? Those are things that matters. It doesn't matter if I distance me from you. That doesn't matter. What matters is if I intend to try to hurt you.
According to the law, right? Battery. What you just did would be technically battery.
Right, and that's the problem with the United States right now.
Well,
and that would be technically battery.
It would be the same in France and England and Germany as well.
And we're seeing that in domestic violence. Half the women are lying. They're just straight up lying. And I don't care if people like me or not. It's true. Half the women are lying, and the other half are getting beaten by some asshole.
Those lying bitches.
No, I'm just saying. You use the system to win.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
People do maliciously.
How many rich people pay taxes? Right? They use the system to avoid paying taxes. They use the system to go around their taxes. That's how it works. So when in a domestic dispute, you and I get in a fight, cops come, he pushed me. Is there any proof of that? No. What do the cops do? They take me to a dungeon, charge me with domestic violence, take away my guns, take away my butcher knives to cut my steak with, and then I come home and you're like, sorry, honey, no steak. No guns either. So if someone comes in here, we're just going to die. It's just crap. It's just crap. The only thing, the other day, that guy who murdered all those people, why didn't the cops mow him down?
Because he surrendered right away.
I don't care.
So you want the cops to just shoot people?
I'm saying, if you're going to have that energy, then have that energy. Don't be fake. They didn't kill him. Why?
Because he surrendered right away.
Comply or die.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Die. I'm saying just comply.
And I don't comply.
I see that.
I'm not going to comply.
I see that.
You're not my daddy. And I'm stronger than you
They
are.
can call me daddy. They can be my daddy. I think I said that wrong. Either way, I think that there is always a rational discussion to be had at a later time. In hot moments like that, police officers nonstop every day, they deal with hot moments.
Oh, stop it. You're making excuses.
Have you seen
Pull back and fly the drone. Pull back and fly the drone. There's a little microphone on there, a little speaker on there that says, look, man, you're caught. There's drones everywhere. What do you want to do?
Want to petition that.
Petition that.
Legislature, and then also get funding for every single police officer in the nation.
No more police officers. No more of that. They're transparency peace officers. And then when they get there, only one talks. You guy couldn't even use, get out of the car, get out of the car. I mean, God.
Such an intense situation. Imagine.
Why is he chasing him?
Because
why is he chasing him?
Has a gun and he's shooting.
I've got a gun.
Do you shoot at people as you're driving?
I don't think he shot at anybody. I think that's a lie.
Okay,
I don't believe
shot
it.
His weapon while driving.
I don't think he shot his weapon.
Okay, according to
a flash of light.
Right now.
Oh, it's just a lie. The pigs lie. I no longer trust any of them.
Okay.
They're literally the trash of our society.
I don't like a lot of I don't like police, or I don't like the FBI, for instance.
Oh, because you're on the right, and now. We talked about this earlier.
I think that there is some sort of a need for some sort of for some sort of group to, whatever you call them, some sort of group of people to work within a municipality, and I think the municipality should be in charge of controlling those people, and that's essentially
not controlling people.
Controlling
protecting rights.
I was talking about controlling police.
Right, but there's no controlling someone that you send a dog out with a taser and a gun and there's nothing else they can use. What are they going to do? If you train me with nunchucks and a spear,
and you want to use that stick thing, why don't we bring that stick thing up? What is that called again?
I don't want to show it to people yet. It's not ready.
Oh, okay.
It's called a sumata.
A sumata.
Yeah, they use them in Asia.
Okay.
It's half a circle on the end of the stick. You can easily put someone against the wall and subdue them. I also created a popper.
So what I noticed in the Sumata video is they had, it seemed very convenient to prevent somebody from stabbing you or.
Right.
But the issue is, let's say they do happen to get around the Sumata.
Okay.
Then you're fucked.
You run. We don't need to be taking people on the way we're taking them on. Put them on camera, let them know they're on camera, and give them some choices. If they're mentally ill, we send in a different team. You don't send, that's the whole thing.
How do you know until you're there?
Because the transparency peace officer goes in with the cameras on and assesses it and makes the decision of whether or not I need to leave here and send in another team. Absolutely.
You want
protect the victim. Protect the victim.
Okay. How can you protect a victim sometimes without first restraining?
You may need to use violence. Violence may be a part of it.
You do need to use violence.
Right, but if I only have a gun and a taser, what kind of violence am I going to use? Both are lethal.
Okay,
both of these are lethal.
Sprays. They also
spray is not going to stop me. A spray won't. It's not going to stop me, but not before I get to you. If you're within 15 feet, you can spray me all you want. By the time I get on top of you, I'm just dripping my snot in your face.
Nice, thank you.
I'm just telling you.
Okay.
And if you shoot me with the taser, you're just going to piss me off.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
It just makes me mad.
Have you been shot with a taser?
Yes. It just makes you mad. If you're coming at them and you're not going to give up. Now, if you're just standing there like a dump on a log, it might lock you up and you fall down. But if you're enraged and coming at them, very seldomly does it take a real man to drop it. I've seen it. I've seen it on hundreds of videos.
So
the guy just takes the taser out.
That's why a lot of times conservatives actually argue that you shouldn't taser, that you should go for lethal force. If somebody is coming at you and trying to cause you violence as a policeman, then you should be allowed to use lethal force to prevent yourself from having egregious
officer safety first. Yeah. That's working out great.
Every individual.
Officer safety first. That's working great. It's going great.
If somebody is coming after you, any individual
retreat
has a right.
Retreat. Bring in the popper team.
Right.
You need one transparency peace officer. When everybody knows that the person showing up is simply recording in 360 degrees. Now, if you're beating me up in a domestic, let's say Lauren is kicking my booty. I call transparency peace. I'm like, hey, I need help. They come in and Lauren won't stop beating on me. She won't leave me alone. Transparency peace officer looks in. Behind him is a guy with a gun who can shoot you through the window from 50 yards. We don't want to shoot you though. So then we bring in the popper team and they pop you away from me. We have to have the necessary violence. It was like when that Wick Obama said, we're not going to do anything with, what are you talking about? Everything's on the table. Okay. Every possibility is on the table.
So I guess what I'm
saying, if they got to kill you to stop you from beating me, then that's what has to happen. But for the most part, we don't have any weapons. Where's the net guns? Where are the net guns? We're 2022. You're telling me we can't create a net gun? Really?
Why don't you invent one?
I'm just saying, there's hundreds watching. We can't create a net gun? You mean we can't create a popper?
I've seen Scooby-Doo. I'm pretty sure we can create a net gun.
I'm talking about a popper.
If that dog can work a net gun, we can.
That's right. Why don't we have those?
I don't know. I guess the cartoonists didn't.
We should have those.
Physically create.
We should have those.
In order to.
We should have those. And we have technology now that when you shoot with the net gun, it could wrap around you. I mean, why don't we have that? Why don't we have better things to save lives, to invest in people instead of punish and kill people? And by the way, just so you know, I was being sarcastic. I don't give a damn about that officer safety crap. It's a total made up from Terry versus Ohio. If a guy walks in and there's a guy with a knife in there, your first obligation is to protect the victim. And you can have a series of different kinds of apparatuses that can put a distance between you and that person with the knife. But what we do in America is we just shoot that. In other countries, They take them down. In Colombia, in Brazil, they just take the person down with the knife. Here we murder them.
I think they have plenty of policing issues in both Colombia.
Nothing like we do. I go to South America, to Colombia, I feel way more free. I feel way more free. Mm-hmm. Now, the difference is between the guerrillas and the citizens. The guerrillas are terrorist groups. Freedom fighters, depends on how you see it. But the difference is the cops there, it's a third world country, so you can bribe them. It's just different. What I'm trying to say is the idea that you can shoot people because they have a knife is a problem for me. It's a problem. And they teach cops, oh man, look at the knife. You're going to get one swipe and you're going to be ruined. What about 3 guys with poppers? Where they pop the guy, and it's a 4-foot popper. And those guys are trained. That's all they do is train on poppers for 4 hours a day, and they go out 5 to 6 hours a day. Pretty soon, you're going to see on camera that if you do something stupid, the popper team's going to come. You got 3 dudes who got these long, hard pillows, and they knock you the crud out of you. Why don't we have that?
I would imagine just difficulty in having such a device on hand at all needed times.
We don't invest in it. Take a look at what happened in the 4th of July parade. The guy killed a bunch of people. And then what'd you see after that? A bunch of G.I. Joe losers sitting around in their full metal gear. They got their guns. You had 100 cops I saw sitting around in their G.I. Joe gear. Did any of them stop the shooting? Why do we have those guys looking like that?
I think to help in case the person does start shooting again.
And how many? What the?
I don't really know why you would send 100 people after the shooting. I suppose to help the victims.
We have multiple agencies over the same area. We have multiple agencies over one area.
Yeah, it's federalism. You have municipalities.
It is not federalism.
Police, and then you have the federal police.
You have borough cops, you got city cops, you got state cops, you got local cops, you got municipality cops, county cops, and they're all over the same division. So who's in charge? Oh, well, the sheriff is, and then it's going to be the city, and then it's going to be, why don't we have one organization with no rankings, where everybody takes an oath to the Constitution?
That seems like even less checks and balances.
What are you talking about? They're on camera all the time. We can see the cameras through the Montesquieu.
Organization.
One. Each different state. Each different state. No, each state has their own police.
We have state police. We have
state police driving around in bumblebee cars who have no connection to the particular neighborhood of which they're entering. You have these.
That's why we have city police as well, and we also have town police.
And how well is it working?
I think a lot of the times
is it going good?
So we've had some police who've started community outreach programs, and I think those community outreach programs have been really beneficial, in which they're trying to get to know the people and the citizens. You're saying that this system is so corrupt that it needs to go through.
Okay, everything you just said was wrong. There wasn't a single thing you said just now that was right. It was all wrong. We've created a gang system where they worship a thin blue line flag, and their allegiance is to that flag and to each other. Officer safety is paramount. So no matter what occurs here, do you know what the motto of cops is? What's the motto of police?
Fuck the bastards, protect all cops.
No, come on. Give me the motto of cops. What is it?
I have no idea.
What do you think it is? Anybody? What's the motto of cops?
I would say protect the people.
Okay, what's the motto of cops? Write it down. Tell me what the motto is. What is the cops' motto? What is it? What do they say to each other over and over and over? What's the one thing they say? What do they say? Anybody? Anybody know what it is? I know what it is. What is it?
No idea.
Come on. I'll wait. Anybody over there get it? What do the cops say?
Serve and protect.
That's not their motto internally. That's not what they say to each other when they pass each other in the locker room. What do they say to each other?
Anybody? They say, let's get chilly. They say...
No, that's not it.
They say...
Nope, still haven't got it yet.
Lauren is awesome.
You're close
awesome.
there.
That's great.
Okay.
That.
So what they say to each other is...
Lauren is awesome.
Whatever it takes for you to go home safe at the end of your shift. So what does that do? You lose all quality of care. It's about me going home safe. I didn't sign up to serve. I thank the military veterans for their service. I don't thank pigs or call them in service. Whatever it takes for them to go home safe. That's what they say to each other, Lauren.
Do you realize? Okay.
No. Stay on it. Don't turn the channel.
I'm not sure.
Okay, you are. I just said it. What's their motto? Whatever it takes for you to go home safe at the end of your shift.
On that line of thought, do you realize that police are only called when they're called by 911 when someone is calling due to an emergency situation?
That is just not true at all.
Okay, sure, there's people that...
half of the domestic violence are so that you can win the argument.
There are police that drive around pulling people over like that happened yesterday. They're
Right.
not being called to a
Right.
but most of the time, right, when police enter,
That's not true. That's incorrect data. The data's wrong. Sorry.
What percentage of the time are police called to action as opposed to inserting themselves?
So most police interactions start as a Terry stop, and then most police who are called, I can't remember. It was something like 90% of the stops they come from either calls or Terry stops. And I haven't seen the data lately, and internet sleuth, so I don't want to make a mistake here, but I'll just tell you this. Most of the time cops interact with you on the street, it's a Terry stop. Most of the time the cops get called out to your house, they're going to enter into a Terry stop. They're going to say, I'm suspicious because I got a phone call. The neighbor calls and says the two people next door are screaming at each other. So they come out here to investigate, and they're going to Terry stop you.
They're doing a wellness check.
And then, so when they get here, is my wellness in jeopardy?
When they get here, you're
is my wellness in jeopardy?
To say, I'm fine. Please don't come in.
And then they do anyway.
No, they have no right without a warrant.
They don't come in anyway.
They don't have a right without a warrant.
Once again, counselor, you're reading things on a paper, and it sounds great.
And if they do come in without a warrant, then you would argue in court to have any evidence that they obtained via their illegal search to be suppressed.
Oh, but Ronald Reagan wanted to overturn Mapp versus Ohio. He's the one that wanted to get rid of it. He called for warrantless searches and seizures. Okay, but aside from that, I just want to get that Reagan jab in there because I jabbed Obama. I want to make sure people know that Reagan was just as big a piece of garbage.
You just want to piss off as many people as possible.
No, I want people to realize that we haven't had leadership in this country for the people in the past 100 years.
What about Trump?
What about Trump? He led like a Pied Piper. All the 3%ers who were willing to fight for this country, who were willing to go to violence, willing to lay down their lives, he played his Pied Piper tune and ushered them all to the Capitol. And then he watched them all get arrested, and he pardoned zero. He can burn in hell. He's a total traitor to America. I would never support that man again. The 3%ers, the people who were willing to fight, he brought them there and watched them get arrested. What a coward. And he didn't pardon Assange, and he didn't pardon Snowden. He didn't hold true on his promises. Where's the wall?
He did try to.
He didn't hold true on his promises, Lauren. He was worried about himself and his money. You know what he did do, though? You know what he did do? He changed the estate tax and the inheritance tax. That's what he did.
For the benefit.
For the benefit of rich.
For the benefit of those who have inheritance.
Right. So he did that for himself.
But have you heard about? Okay, you know Kristen Noem.
He led the people.
Do you know about Kristen Noem? About how she got started in politics? It was a really interesting story. It has to do with inheritance tax. Her father had a farm, and she inherited that farm. And due to the inheritance tax, they were they were going to have to either sell their farm instantly upon their father's death, or obtain a ton of debt. And they just obtained a ton of debt in order to pay off their taxes. And then it took her many years of running the farm to be able to finally pay off those taxes.
But you're getting
most people just lose their farms. Most people lose what,
Well, Lauren, what's the etymology? What's the history? What's the origins of law here? You're talking about things that come to an origin. What is the origin of that?
What is the origin of inheritance tax?
The 16th Amendment.
Okay.
And the 16th Amendment was what? Property tax and income tax. Okay. That's where taxes are theft. Taxes are not theft when we start with the 10th Amendment. The government has a right to tax so that America can thrive. What they did, though, is they extended that to income tax and property tax. If we abolish the 16th Amendment, we can get rid of that nonsense. But we haven't had any leadership. How many people here have heard this before? How many people knew that?
I've taken basic petty.
Okay, so but people don't know that. They don't know that your income tax comes from the 16th Amendment. It shouldn't be there. You shouldn't have to pay an income tax.
I don't remember specifically what amendment, but that aside, I agree
there's
that
an origins of law.
I don't think that there should be so much wealth being given to the government. I think the government excessively spends. I would love to reduce taxes.
You said Trump. I just want to be clear on this. Trump was as successful as Obama. The two of them together go golfing, and they're best friends behind the scenes. No. They sit there and they laugh to each other. Do you see what I did, Obama? Oh, I did that. You see me lead all those people to the Capitol? They're not pardon any. And they're like, yeah, I saw that. Did you see me lead all those black people to prison? Yes, I did. Good job. Good job, Big O. Nice job, T. And then let's hit another 16 holes, bro.
Zero shot.
We're rich. We're
Zero
rich.
Zero shot.
I mean, look, Trump, he completely, and he passed the First Step Act. Who passed the gun? Who infringed on our gun rights? Donald Trump. Who banned bump stocks? Donald Trump. Who's against all gun laws? This guy. Donald Trump helped in banning guns. Who did that before that? Conservative Ronald Reagan.
Donald Trump wasn't a real strict conservative. He was pretty libertarian. I didn't read anything about him preventing.
What did Donald Trump say about the guns? Let's take the guns first and then do due process. That's what he said. Out loud at the conference table in the White House. Let's take the guns first and then do due process of law.
I think that's wrong, and that's something that happens
Trump,
especially with domestic violence cases, right? So, like, if someone is accused of domestic violence in California, before your case, you have a temporary restraining order. Within 24 hours of receiving a temporary restraining order, you have to give all of your weapons over to a police.
That's unconstitutional. It's wrong. It's wrong.
I agree.
It's wrong.
I also simultaneously, I agree. I actually did go on a date with a person, and I didn't want to go on a second date with this person. So they filed with the court saying that I was his fiance and that we've dated for several years and that I was violent and that I needed to have a restraining order. I mean, I won in court, but at the time, as soon as that was issued, I instantly had to take all my weapons over to the police department in order to. You
lose your Second Amendment right because someone says they're scared of you?
Right. That's a Democrat idea.
That's a Democrat idea?
It is, 100%.
Red flag laws came under which president? Which president was that?
I'm assuming you're going to say Reagan.
Trump.
No,
Trump.
red flag laws were before Trump.
Okay.
Red flag laws were definitely.
Someone let me know when red flag laws came around. Because I believe they were instituted under Trump. Because Trump could have got rid of them. Why didn't he? The idea that Trump was a good leader is just absurd.
Well, if you look at what he did for Israel, if you look at what he did.
What he did for Israel, he moved them closer to war. He moved their capital to Jerusalem.
Which
right.
is something that every president prior, but like past 4 presidents prior.
So he put them on the front of war.
No,
it's a contested
peace
land.
Among 4 different countries.
There's peace there now?
There's peace among United Emirates. There's peace with Bahrain. There's peace with what were the 4 countries?
Here's where I'll give Trump credit. He didn't go take us to war. What he did instead, though, was took our freedom fighters and locked them up. Because I'm with those freedom fighters. I'm down for it. I think that our country needs to change, and we need people who are willing to fight for that change. Now, hopefully it doesn't have to be physical with violence. I don't think they should have gone quite as aggressive as they did into the White House. But I agreed. Go ahead and go there. Go ahead and protest. But don't go into the, and I saw they walked into the velvet ropes. I saw the cops let them in. I saw all that. And I saw the FBI led the January 6th. FBI is complicit. That's the reason why so many of them are not getting prosecuted now. But the FBI is the dog crap organization. It's dog crap. Don't read the comments. It'll just throw you off.
I'm not. I'm just thinking that I think we gotta host Michelle. Do you think you explained everything that you wanted to explain?
No, because I think you didn't stay on track. It's all your fault.
It is all my fault.
I'm kidding.
And what else is there that you wanted to?
Well, I wanted to talk about Techline versus Danforth.
Why don't we do that? Why don't we pull up Techline?
What time is it now?
It is currently 3:27.
Oh my God, I do have to go pretty soon.
I know you do. Techline versus Danforth. So I have I know.
Lou. You dirty dog. You dirty dog.
So let's pull this up.
No, I better go. We can cut it because we can do another one. But what I just want to mention this, that you have the right to stop on any freeway anytime you want. So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. All right.
Well, you guys, this is Lauren's. What's the name of your channel, Lauren, for the people who are here?
Lauren DeLaguna. I'm sure that your fans are not going to be my fans, dude.
They're not my fans. These are people who agree with change. I don't have any fans.
Well, I agree with change.
I'll tell you what. I would say at least 1 out of 5 people, maybe even 1 out of 4 people, they'll send me an email and they'll say, Chille, you are this and you are that. But you know what? We need change so bad. We need someone with your bravado and your energy who won't back down. And I would say 1 out of 4 people who send me money on my PayPal, my Cash App, my Venmo. they'll tell me, this isn't for you. This is for what you can do. So keep doing it and don't you dare stop.
I agree with that.
So,
I think that you should keep doing it, especially if you're going to sue Miss KP. I think that's hysterical.
Well, that is in the process, and you know that.
Yeah.
But more than that, and then the people talk about the pigs, right? And I'm going to do a long talk on pigs on Sunday. We need to openly disrespect these people until they realize they've joined a Nazi regime, until they realize they are the oppression, they are the fear, they are the danger in the night. And once in a while, a pig does something good, and the sun shines on a dog's ass once in a while too. But the pigs in this country they've ruined this country by following orders, because we have an order system instead of an oath to the Constitution. I don't respect pigs. I don't like pigs. I'm not going to be nice to pigs. And I'm going to lay out on Sunday night exactly the problem with pigs in America. And it takes, people will say, blame the Supreme Court, blame the legislators. It takes you being willing to sign up to do that for us to live in a police state, prison state, death state. You have to be willing to do that to another person.
I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you coming here.
Your channel's launched.
Thank you. I know we got off to a great start with not even clicking start.
That's okay.
It was great. It was fun. We had a good time.
That's okay.
You came here to talk about all of the things that you want to put forth in this world, and I hope that you get everything accomplished that you hope to get accomplished.
Thank you for not trying to get me in a gotcha moment. I appreciate it. It was my only thing I didn't want to have to deal with. I don't want to be in a gotcha. I'm not right on everything. I'm not correct. Some of the things I said today were probably incorrect. I'm not right. I'm not right on everything. Right. I'm just saying, I just want to be clear with people, because there's a new audience of your people who are watching this and some new audience here. I'm not right on everything. I'm not correct.
I am.
I know, but I need people like you to say, hey, Chille, look at this here. And then I read your data. And at first I say, go fly a kite. And then I drive down the road and I think about it. Damn. She's got a good point.
Like that civil procedure stuff.
Well, we're going to battle about that until we actually file the lawsuit. So, but we'll take a look at it. I'll talk to Bobby Law and we'll talk about that. Okay. But so everybody, Lauren DeLaguna, she has her, listen, and then for the people who are Trumpers, look, I don't support Obama. I don't support Trump. I don't support Biden. I don't support Clinton. I don't support these people.
You don't support Biden. Doesn't everybody? Pretty sure.
Is he there?
Oh, he's wonderful. Everybody loves Brandon.
I can't stand him.
Let's go, Brandon.
I didn't vote for him.
Good for you.
I didn't vote for him.
Good for you.
I didn't vote for Trump
either. All right,
either.
guys, we're going to end it here.
So for my people, I just want you guys to know that no matter what occurs under any circumstances,